very, very happy to be here today, and thank you very much for the invite. So, I'm going to talk to you about the identity that comes through our bodies, an internet of bodies, a vision I have of a connected body world, where we can be collective together, where we can be alive and collective. Our virtual physical worlds are blending. We can see it all around us, and we're merging, and it's shifting our understanding of what our identities are. We actually see our identities in a much more diverse way. It's much more hyper-enhanced, and we're multi-sensory. And this shifts also our collaborations, how we co-create together, the immersion that we're in, and the connectivity. So, I'm going to talk about these things, but I'm going to talk about it from the body as our interface. I'm part of a collective in London called Body Data Space. Basically, we are what we say in the name. We look at the body, we look at data, and we look at virtual and physical space. And we explore a future. We explore a future where our physical bodies and our data selves blend and converge seamlessly. And by that I mean that we're looking at the convergence of presence, virtual presence, and our real live presence. And we look at our agency and our representation in relationship to the avatars and the robots around us. And we create immersive experiences which cross time and distance. This slide actually behind me now is where we all are today. It's the most wonderful thing about life, the essence of liveness. And last night we had a gathering here, which really proved that liveness that we all have. We recognize these things that are in our live encounters with each other. We are emotional, physical bodies. We sweat, we smile, we have joy, we have emotions, and we remember those. These things together shift our perceptions. We take away memories from here with us. We have intimacy as we get to know people. We interact with each other as we move through this house of beautiful business. And it's always on. We're always breathing, and we've always got our heartbeat, even when we're asleep. What we're looking at with Body Data Space is the new hypersensory self. Actually, on this side of the screen here, audio, visual, breath, proximity, these are all held today in each of you in digital transmission. In your smartphones that you've probably got with you now, we are transmitting data out and we're receiving back. Data's flowing all around us, and it expands from us in flows and waves, and we actually deal with it even from the phones in our hands. And on this side of my slide, biofeedback, we're all dealing with too. Many of us will have Fitbits and are dealing with our health and well-being through this. And I can tell you that all the others, digital smell, digital taste, we know there's touch and haptic experiences, these are all emerging fast. And this is data coming out of our bodies, reaching out into the world, and we're receiving it back in different ways. Sometimes we put out voice, we receive back images. We put out touch, and we receive back voice. These we know from interactive scenarios. Now this data transmission, the hypersensory self, of course we can turn it off. We can put it to sleep, we can press the button on that tech and say, I'm just going to be the living live essence me. But this is where the physical self and the data self meet. And this is the merge that we're interested in exploring. One of the other concepts I want to share is of collaborative share space. Now, in today's world, we deal with a lot of collaborative share spaces. All our social media, any blogs and forums, we come as individuals into the middle and we meet the others. The I meets the we in the central area where we collaborate together. And we enjoy those multiplayer games, or we enjoy those things that we can cross over and cross time and space with. And today we do connect through these everywhere. But in majority, these are screen-based connections. They're done on our phones, through televisions, through public facades possibly. And we use our eyes, and we use our ears, and we use our hands. But rarely do we use our full bodies. This slide is a slide that I made 20 years ago. It's actually linked to my work in dance and technology. and it's linked to every workshop and every direction I do. I use this slide. Here we are in the middle, and either side of us are the new identities that we are taking on board, the shifts that are happening in our world to our physical selves, to relate to our cyborg selves and our avatar selves. And I'm going to take you through both of these, from the human through to the avatar, and then from the human through to the cyborg in the next few slides. So, looking at the human and connectivity and how we move through interactivity, co-relativity, and multi-identity, we've all made an avatar. We've all worked in telepresence. These are pieces that we've made, where we've looked at the body as the interactive canvas, where we've connected stages around the world and dancers working together, performing and understanding body knowledge, working through gesture, trying to reach out to each other, and feel through our bodies to each other across distance. Data immersion. Many artists are creating these amazing experiences. This one used heartbeat and breath, and as a participant, you created all the audio and visual around you. Live connected avatars, a piece we did 4 or 5 years ago, connecting Paris, Istanbul, Belgium, and London, where you went in as a physical being, you entered a virtual space as an avatar, and we asked people to try and hug each other and be intimate in that joint space. You had a heartbeat rippling around you. You were live and real time, meeting the others in distant positions. And collective reality, a more recent piece we created, which is about experiencing togetherness, really enjoying the chance to actually move together in data immersion. And the more people came together, the more people moved together in groups, the more it generated an incredible audio and sound, audio and visual scape all around us. Now, the Internet of Bodies is based on this collaborative share space, but this is where we believe a collective embodiment can bring some very different emotions into play in a very special way. And we can look at love and pleasure and compassion and start to exchange emotions across time and space. But we lack these places that we can be connected physically, where we can join each other in real-time space in our live physical forms. Moving on to the human to the cyborg, we're a little bit further still back in the tracks here. We're going through wearables, there's some amazing prosthesis and robotics happening. Implants and AI additionality are well on their way. These are 2 pictures taken from very early work by artist Donna Haraway with her Cyborg Handbook in 1995, and Stellark, who actually is a performance artist based in Australia. Both of these artists foresaw what was possibly coming for us. And actually today, of course, we know that in terms of body and cyborg development, medical implants have led the way in many ways. There are over 200 medical implants used in the body today. Stellark, some of you may well know, he's also been involved in more biological side. So identity is shifting, linked to this thinking. What is normal today? Now, I work with a lot of cyborgs, and one of their big issues is not being seen as normal. We don't like that word, but we need to be able to extend ourselves in these ways. 2 artists working today, younger artists. So here on the bottom, we have Marco Donnarumma. He works with these armbands and wires attached to his body, and they take 5 or 6 different transmissions of data from his body. They take his muscle movements, the blood flow, his breath, his heartbeat, and he changes those around him into sounds and visuals and texts in the space. And at the top here, Mark Farrett, who's preparing for a 28-day, 24 hours a day VR experience, where he will be actually alone in a VR helmet full-time and receiving the stream of another person's life. Now, these artists are exploring these in relationship to the shifts in identity that are happening around us. These are quite tough projects. They're endurance scenarios, and they're working with psychologists and other people to explore the shifts that will happen in them linked to this type of work. VR is a difficult one for me. I have to say to you, I find it very disembodying, and I'm very, very much into collective embodiment. This picture, for me, actually says it all. Yeah, to walk through the middle of a room with everybody in VR headsets, totally unaware of each other in the room, but very pleased to be in that situation. But I don't see that we will be doing this in the future. I don't see this as the future that we're going towards. This is external wearables which change the body in a big way. What I'm more interested in is how we move towards the implant area. Implants can be personal to you. They can be internalized. They don't change the way you move. They actually are transmitting your body data out, and you can receive back, and you can control data for yourself. Now, I'm very obviously a personal data advocate, and I'm working towards that being very much in our control. Implant parties are happening. They're happening all over Europe. They get queues of 200 people. In fact, I will foresee now that actually the 18th birthday party, within 5 to 10 years, that 18th birthday present will be your son or daughter saying, I want my implant. They replace many things. They replace very simple things, things that we have to carry around in our pockets every day, whether it's getting into your house, whether it's your credit card or your Oyster card. Now, how can I really be sure about this? Because it's happening. It's happening in the workplace, and it's happening by business people everywhere as well. In Sweden, 3,000 businessmen have just recently had microchip implants embedded instead of their season cards for their traveling. And there are people playing with connecting implants to each other. This is actually Kevin Warwick, Professor Kevin Warwick, who's a pioneer in implant technology. And his partner, who is also an implant technologist, they've connected their bodies together through their implants. And they are sharing their digital systems, both at home and in work, controlling together and knowing what each other's doing, but also working in collaboration. And there are smart skin circuits coming in. These are things that we don't have to add to our body in a big way as wearables. Woven materials, patches which are stuck onto the skin, which can receive and transmit data. Stretchy electronics, yeah. Replication can happen of touch. And it gives information which is useful for people on sun exposure, on diabetes, etc. They vibrate, linked to data outputs. There's many uses of these things which are very positive. And we have still a little way to go, but cybernetic contact lenses are on the way through too. Again, not meaning we have to wear a headset or a big box on our heads. We will be able to have the bionic lenses. We will be able to see different things around us, get information in an augmented reality way, and also for those that are less mobile, direction and instruction and medical diagnosis come with that too. Nanobots, tiny little nanobots that are actually put into the body, into the bloodstream today to deliver drugs to particular tumors or particular illnesses. These are tiny little things that swim through the bloodstream. They can deal with data, transmission, and reception as well. And if we look at digital tattoos and robotics, spray-on skins for robots, and programmable gels, which have been made for robot joints, yeah? It's very worthwhile always looking at what's happening around us in relationship to robotics and medicine, because this will become much more available and the norm. So, I'm going to finish in a minute, but I just wanted to emphasize that experiential liveness is what we need to focus on. We really need to, between humans, look at our emotions, look at our involvements, our belongings. And it's this natural connectivity that needs to be translated through our bodies into digital connectivity. The body needs to be the interface. We need to be the center of digital technologies. It needs to complement us and work for us in positive ways. We need to blend our physical cells and our data cells into virtual physical experiences and make collaborative share spaces where all these things can come in together, so that the full body can be involved in immersion in collective environments, where we can move data around us, connect to other data immersion spaces. And I've got a little note there. Anybody who would like to talk to me about immersion domes, 3,000 are being built in China at the moment. There's many others around the world. These are the beginning of collective immersion spaces for full body work. So, the Internet of Bodies. Let's go forward and try to find ways that we can actually put our joy and our love and intimacy into this central space together, where we can join on compassion and empathy, where we actually can have hope and positive action. And it's not just hitting that heart emoticon to send that love to your partner, but much more than that, through body vibration connections, through various sensual toys, which are beginning to come onto the market as connected sex toys, through many other areas where we need to exchange emotions and intuition, even through to telepathy. And that is an area that we can start to use positively into the world. Let's aim for that, positive human sensory enhancement, and prioritize digital intimacy. Let's enable collective embodiment to run alongside collective intelligence. These are holistic things. We don't work our mind separate than our body. We don't work our body separate than our brains. And we talk a lot about collective intelligence. We need to integrate collective embodiment into that. That's our inherent responsibility as living emotional beings, and that's what I call the Internet of Bodies. Thank you very much.